Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an I.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
Hello, people, get ready. Get ready.
I don't know what song that is.
It's just
Improv?
made it up, improv,
Wow.
as we used to do so well. Hey guys, welcome to Large Marge Santa's podcast. Happy end of week. My pick this week, la la la, and current events have us, closely following the situation in Ukraine, right? So it's like, seems like another war might be a brewing. Been some tough times over there. I guess it's the month. It's been a month since the Russian invasion started, as of today. So incredible that those people are keeping it up. And it just made me think that maybe it was time to do one of my favorite war movies, quote unquote, that I had as a child. I'm always just about stuff just pops in my head when current events happen sometimes, Anyways, so I thought it was time for the movie called The Rescue. So, The Rescue, guys.
What's up with this? Why did you watch this?
Okay, so this was definitely a movie that Dad had recorded like off the TV. We had a bootleg version. This is why I started watching this. And I was obsessed with it. Now, for years, I think I've been talking about this movie like since the beginning of this podcast, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And it was not like you couldn't find this movie anywhere. As luck would have it, see, you got to keep checking back into these streaming services because it does. It cycles out, cycles in, cycles out, and they pick movies up. So I happened to look, and there's that really handy feature of IMDb where it'll tell you like where it's playing. And I searched this one for some reason kind of recently, and it said available to rent on Amazon Prime. And I was like, holy shit, my dream has come true. I thought nobody knew about this movie. I'm very happy to know now that after posting we were doing it, people were like, that's my favorite movie. I love it. So
Wow.
I feel really validated.
Crazy. I mean,
so yeah.
I kind of remember that. I don't think I ever... I remember maybe seeing the tape and like the label was like half off or something.
Yes,
so like I
totally.
never was... I was like, I don't know. Is this The Rescuers Down Under? And then
So
it'd be like, no, it's not.
Right. So this was a big confusion with like in the family with the Rescuers and the Rescuers Down Under and then this movie called The Rescue. And it was, I think we've described this before. Dad used to we had like a video recorder that could, a VCR that could record off the TV.
Operation.
We basically had like a lowbrow bootleg operation to the point like I would see those warning signs that like used to play before tapes, like, piracy or whatever it's called, blah, blah, blah. And I would literally get stressed out. I'd be like, oh my God, Dad is going to get arrested. We are copying Mr. Boogedy from the TV.
Oh,
Like,
I
was
wish
really
we
freaked out.
copied Mr. Boogedy, did
I
we?
know. I think that was one of them too.
Oh.
But I think what Dad used to do is he would use the same tape. So sometimes it was like a real mishmash of what was on there.
Takes over.
So anyway, so this was definitely on there. And I was obsessed with this movie. I thought it was so cool. I thought the kids were cool. I thought like the plot was so awesome. And it was like, I don't know if it like, okay, we'll go into the plot, but this movie is about this Navy SEALs and they have to do this operation and it's against North Korea, right? So it's all about North Korea and how like they're the enemy in this one. I don't think it dawned on me like who is North Korea and like why are they so evil and that kind of a thing. I don't think I really understood that part, but I was like I knew like those people are bad. Like those are bad people like attacking those soldiers. And anyways, so I was obsessed with this movie. And I'm so glad it finally got to a point where I can watch it again. So, and you have, other than that, like no recollection of it, right?
No, like
Okay.
I don't. It's weird because I mostly did whatever you did. I feel like
Right.
so. Like, how could you have been obsessed with this movie and me not have like realized it? I don't
know.
know.
I guess I watched it on my
honestly,
own.
Yeah,
I wonder
no
if Liz-
memory.
If Liz
no
remembers
recollection.
this one, maybe I watched it with her.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's just like I would not have liked this, obviously, if I did
Yeah.
see it. So maybe I did, and I just like blocked it out. It's
Maybe.
not. It wasn't a movie for Sweetie of the Y.
No, I mean, there's like a spy kind of element to it, so I think I like that. I obviously had, even as a young kid, like really like that sort of dynamic. So, The Rescue from 1988. So this is late 80s. This is peak Reagan era, like proud to be American. Like let's talk about like the military industrial complex. Like very much. You know, like I said, proud to be an American. Look at us. Like, look at these Navy SEALs. Like, we're in the Navy. Like, this is great.
In the Navy.
In the Navy. So, it stars a bunch of kids. I don't know if they're supposed to be in high school, most of them, but some of the actors look a little bit older, but they're supposed to be in high school. So, star of this movie, Kevin Dillon.
Poor Kevin Dillon.
Of the Dillon brothers. Let's say the not as good looking.
The lesser Dillon.
Can you imagine being the ugly Dillon brother? I mean,
And it's
I
like
would
not
feel
even
terrible.
like it's not like the Hemsworth brothers where it's like the ugliest Hemsworth brother is still a supermodel.
No.
This is like, oh my god, wait, what's the other one's name?
Matt.
Oh, I was like, wait, what's happening? Corey Dillon, Matt
Well, it's
Dillon is like so attractive, and
Yeah,
then
heartthrob.
Kevin
Is
is like, what happened, bud?
he's like a regular Joe. I mean, he kind of looks like his brother,
it's
but
busted.
like
He's like
kind of a
busted
version.
face.
I know.
I just like don't. I'm just sorry.
But like, good for him that he made it. I'm sorry. Like, good.
Did
Good for him.
he? Yeah.
So he
Did
was in
he?
before
I mean, like
this.
he was in Entourage. Was like his main
Johnny
thing.
Drama.
Has he done anything?
Well, before this movie, he was in
else?
the Blob. Do you remember that? He's in the
Yeah.
Blob. Yeah. And it was in Platoon. So he had some like early fame. He looks very young
For
in
like
this
a
movie. So
second and a half, probably.
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
He's like, yeah. So he's like the bad boy, plays it really well. We'll go into it. JJ is his character's name. Christine Harnos is the one girl character who they don't give a lot to do. She was in Dazed and Confused. Still never have seen that movie, but we should definitely. You have Ian Michael Giatti is the little kid who gets, we'll go into kind of like the tropes of like these movies where there's always like a little kid like tags along, I feel like. So he plays Bobby, and his older brother is Sean, played by Ned Vaughn, not Eric Stoltz, who I thought literally my entire life was in this movie.
He looks like him. I was like, he has to have been in something. And I was like, maybe he just looks like the kid that was in the Zeebo the Clown episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I was like,
I'd say he's like a cute ginger, which is, tough for me to say because it's,
it's too on the cusp for me.
Yeah,
It's not. He's not cute. He's not cute for me.
I'm attracted to his persona in this, which is like cool guy who knows how to do everything.
Why did he
That's
have
right.
red hair though? Like, did anybody else in his family look like that? Was he adopted?
Well, the dad did, and I want to go over how good job they did of
He's
casting the
always
dads like
dirty
against the
and-
kids.
I didn't notice.
Always dirty. And then you have Mark Price as Max. I think his name is Max, and he was Skippy on Family Ties. If you remember Family Ties, Skippy was Michael J. Fox, Alex P. Keaton's friend. Skippy, anyone? Skippy. I guess his real name is Irwin. Skippy, whatever his last name was. Anyway, he's sort of again like the nerdy kind of guy in this, and yeah, so that's cool. Oh, the Ned Vaughn, who is not Eric Stoltz, was in Courage Under Fire and Hunt for Red October. So he's been in some military movies. But
Wow.
oh, and I want to
Did
say the
this
little
give
boy.
him the military bug.
Maybe. I mean, he kind of looks like that. I guess. He has like a military face. Whatever that is. And then, the little boy who plays Bobby was in The Great Outdoors. He's the kid in that too. So just to throw that out. The adults in this, so one of the dads is Timothy Carhart, who will very regretfully remember as Harlan from Thelma and Louise, the rape artist of all rape artists.
And the dad from Motocross, my favorite Disney original movie.
And the guy from Ghostbusters. Like Sigourney Weaver, Dana Barrett's like not boyfriend, but who's kind of like, who's that guy? And he keeps like sniffing. No, remember?
Wait, in the first Ghostbusters?
Yeah, he like Bill Murray meets him around the fountain. He's like in the orchestra with Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, I thought that was somebody else.
No,
I think we had the
that's
same
this guy.
conversation, and I was like, I don't think it's him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a real hero in this one. So it was really conflicting for me to do the mental jump being like rape artist from this movie to like hero dad in this one. I struggled. And then James Cromwell, That'll Do Babe, Farmer Hoggett. Is the admiral of the Navy.
I thought he was going to turn out. I thought they were going to pull like a Morgan Freeman fast one, and he was going to be like, "I'm a bad guy," and then something happened. But no moles. I was disappointed.
No moles. It's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's the cast. So a good like smattering of 80s, 90s actors and actresses. I'll say I would categorize this movie as a kids to the rescue movie where like kids are doing it for themselves. Literally.
Was it like bizarre sickness of like, I can do it? Like, I don't know. Like, it's like delusions of grandeur times like a billion. I'm like, the whole time I was just like, what is happening?
I know. Well, I was talking to my friend about this movie today, and I was like, yeah, I love this genre. Like, kids to the rescue. Like, kids can do anything. As a kid, I was like obsessed with it. Turns out that's not true at all. But like, when you're a kid, you're
literally
like
can't do
force-fed all these movies.
We can stay on the monkey bars longer than the adults. That's pretty much it.
That's why I'm like, why did they make these movies? What a tease. Because you're like, this is bullshit.
This is why we have all these like stupid idiots running the world. Like, I can do everything, and then they can't do anything, and you're like, see,
totally
told you.
But so this is real like common theme in movies, right? So I would say Space Camp, which we still haven't watched yet, but I want to.
That was an accident. They had no choice but to just fend for themselves.
But they ended up acting like adult astronauts and saved the day, like save themselves, right? I'd say like The Goonies is kind of in this category where it's like they gotta like save the houses, whatever. Monster Squad gotta save everyone from monsters. Oh yeah,
but at
definitely.
least in those cases, it was like the adults don't believe us, which like. Yes, they didn't. This is just insane. Yeah,
this is insane. Friend of the podcast, Johnny Vaught, brought up Toy Soldiers. Definitely want to do that one. So that's when like the terrorists take over the private school. It's like Will Wheaton and Sean Astin and like there's a really good cast.
That was Red Dawn or whatever.
That's a different one, but similar, I think.
Confusing.
So there's been like a lot of ones like that. Like I said, totally like fucks you up as a kid because you're like, yeah, kids are awesome, and then you're like, wait a minute, like I can't do shit.
Yeah,
this is bullshit.
Hard. It's really hard.
But I did always enjoy that genre, and yeah. So I guess let's get. I just have like a lot of random shit. Okay, so let's get into the plot. It's pretty good. Let's see if Sweetie, being a first-time watcher, was able to grasp it at all.
No, I'll be honest. After like 30 minutes, after like the boat, I'm like kind of confused about what happened. So
okay, well we can speed it up.
I'll let you take most of that part.
Got it. Okay, it's time for the Sweetie synopsis. Yeah, Sweeties. I don't think I have a quote.
Yeah,
not really.
There's nothing
memorable,
stands out.
quotable movie.
Nothing jumps out.
And also apologies. I have probably my 10th illness since my daughter has started daycare. So I'm going to be popping cough drops and hoping for the best here. Mazel tov. Okay. So
you should open the bag right in front of the mic for sure next time. No? Okay. No. Okay. Great.
Okay. So, what's the year? Probably, 1988 around-ish. I think it's like current times that the movie was made. We are in Korea, you guys, at the what is that called? The DMZ
Run DMZ.
demarcation zone. So the border between North Korea and South Korea. We all know there's the Korean War. The communists ended up taking over the northern half and made this border, and we got the southern half. Well, South Korea ended up being its own country, and then we have always had like military presence there since then, right? So there is a naval base there where there's people from the Navy, including this Navy SEAL team, and they are tasked. Yeah, SEAL team. Well, SEAL team 4, right?
No, the SEAL team. It's like that's like the name of the ops. Like,
Oh, okay.
that's like what the division is or whatever.
It's not 6 guys.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe maybe you need 6, but yeah.
So there's this base there, and there's as those bases go, it's the people in the Navy and all their families live there, right? So come to find out, there was some U.S. submarine that got sunk like off the coast of North Korea, and they have some like special spy plans or something in there, and they need to send this SEAL team to go and retrieve those plans from the submarine. So he calls these guys in, and the admiral, played by James Cromwell, there explains to them
weapons. They have to like blow up the weapon so that North Korea doesn't get it.
Was it a weapon or was it some like spy?
It was a weapon because they blow it up at the end
or something
and then
like
that's
that.
why
Okay.
they're like, your objective is make sure it's destroyed.
Right. So they have to do this like secret mission. So they go and they say goodbye to all their kids. Apparently they were just away for a long time anyway, and then they came back for a second, and then they have to do this like secret op. So they say goodbye to all their kids. So you meet one of the, I don't remember all the dads' names, but he goes and sees his son, who he's an only parent to his son JJ, who's kind of like a bad kid. He's drinking beer in the house. He's riding a motorcycle. He obviously doesn't get along with his dad, but can't go home and live with his mom because he doesn't like her. So that's like their relationship. Adrienne is the one girl. She's doing like her karate, judo lessons, wherever. Her dad like rolls in with this giant teddy bear. It's supposed to be her birthday and he can't come. So obviously she's like super daddy's girl. She like runs and like jumps up on him with both her legs. Never had that relationship with my dad.
About like when they got in the Jeep, they're like, wow, your daughter sure is beautiful, or something. Or like something.
I was so
ugh.
creeped out by that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But
here's
that,
my question. Wait, first question.
Oh, sure.
Is it usual for people in the SEAL Team 6 to have families and children and have them live like where they do missions? Like maybe again, this was like the late 80s, early 90s when the world was a better place. But man, post 9/11, I don't think SEAL Team 6 people have families. I just really don't.
I feel like they're constantly doing these dangerous ops.
Well, that's the
and that
point.
would just be like
the
kind of like a
government would
mind
want
fuck.
them to be like not dispensable, but like they would want them to be willing to just be like, I will sacrifice my life. And like a lot of times people can't do that if they have this family, and it sucks.
Yes, I agree. I don't think that's super realistic at all, but there wouldn't be a movie without it. So, so then you have Bobby and Sean, who are a sweet little family. Bobby's like sick, home from school, and the dad comes home and he's all like, why are you so sick, blah blah blah. So obviously he's like military dad, but has a pretty close relationship with the sons.
Why is Bobby always sick?
Why is Bobby always sick? Slacker.
Worried about him.
And then you have okay, so those are like the families of all the SEAL teams. So the SEAL team goes on this op and successful. They're able to, I guess, like the captain of the submarine was still in it.
That was weird. I was like, is he a mole? I was so convinced someone was going to be a mole.
Yeah, I mean, he was the captain, so he like stayed with the ship. It must have been like something like that. I don't know. So they get him out, and then they're able to like blow up the submarine. But then they get this like helicopter comes, and they think it's the guys coming to pull them out of the water, but it turns out it's the North Koreans who are arresting them for spying.
But the captain got away because there was like their plane was there, their helicopter was there, and then that guy like set him up. It was like the orders were to get you out or whatever.
Right.
So, that's why they didn't have a helicopter. Yeah.
Right. But they were technically in international water, so really was it spying? No, but like the North Koreans like took the opportunity to like kidnap some, Americans, which always looks good. So they're in now North Korea, like behind enemy lines in this prison camp. And you see at this point, like they fast forward, it's been like a month and they're still there. So there hasn't been like a rescue operation or anything like that. So the kids are all like kind of freaking out and they're all friends. Loose term, like friends. They're no one's friends with JJ because I think he's like weird. But Sean and Adrian are friends, as along with Max, who is the Admiral James Cromwell's son. So they're like all buddies. And then Bobby's 10 years old, so he's just like the annoying like little brother. So come to find out, so then Max has some inside knowledge about like what's going on. He knows that like people from Washington are coming to fly in to discuss like what are they going to do with this like prisoner situation. So they make he's like kind of a geek and he makes this little contraption that is like a listening device, puts it in the boardroom so they can hear like what's going on. A bug. And I know about spies, so it's like this little contraption.
Like a listening contraption thing you stick under a thing and it tells you what everyone's saying.
Right. It's pretty cool. So they'll use this little bug, and come to find out the guys from Washington are like, yo, we can't go rescue them because we don't want to. Like, I forget what the reason why, but they do not want to go too dangerous
or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's bullshit.
So the kids find this out and they are obviously pissed. Like, what's going to happen to their dads? They're going to be put on trial. Like, they're, probably going to be put to death. Their dads are toast. So the kids get together. And they're, at first very innocent, like, okay, we're going to like, we saved all our money and we're going to buy plane tickets to Washington and we're going to like talk to the president. And JJ gets wind of this and he's like, what, are you insane? Like, no one's going to talk to you. No one's going to listen to you. Like our dads are toast. Like, we need to do something. And he pulls out like the seal of the SEAL team or something like that. It's like this plaque or something that his dad gave him. And he's like, this, what this means? Like, we watch out for our own. That means like we got to go in and like rescue our dads ourselves. So, okay. You continue. I'm going to start coughing.
Yeah, it's just it's a bizarre like realization where they're like, we don't think anybody. I guess it's not like that they couldn't do it in the military, but like they didn't want to. So they like this was the only option apparently. So you may be asking yourself, okay, how are they going to pull this off? Basically, they're like, it's easy. All we have to do is steal the plans to the original operation and just do it ourselves. Like it's a recipe for cookies. And they're like, we can do this. We just need some eggs. And it's like, oh, we just need explosives. And it's so weird. I'm like, well, you guys don't even know how to like rig up explosives. I mean, like maybe Max does, but like whatever. So it's mostly just like the three kids, and Max like doesn't want to be a part of it. His dad's not even, captive, so he's like, it's fine, I'm fine. And then Bobby's been like eavesdropping this whole time, and they won't let him in because obviously he's like a small child. So finally they come up with this plan. JJ has like a friend or like some contact in Seoul with a boat, so he's like, we'll get a boat. All we need is a boat, and then we'll be good. We'll like be in the border, like can do it. So his contact falls through, and then they instead, while they're there, like trying to get the boat from the friend, they're like, oh wait, let's just steal this boat from these guys, who are like a bunch of thugs, I guess, or were they like just seem like teenagers?
No, it was like some casino, like South Korean casino with definitely some like guys with guns. They were like not. Gangsters maybe even. So like the boat, it's just sitting there waiting idle, and they decide to go. So they do this dumb thing where they like throw all their bags on there, but then they have to hide because like the guys come back out and the bags have like all the plans and everything. So the guy like opens the bag and it says like top secret Navy, like Operation Phoenix, and they're like, oh, what's this? And they're like looking at all of it. So at this point it is Adrian, Sean, and JJ, and Max has stayed behind, and they had stolen Adrian's mom's car. And to sneak into like out of the naval base, they have Max like dress up as Adrian's mom, this like terrible drag. Meanwhile, Adrian's mom is like this beautiful woman, and like the guards like don't even flinch. They're like, "Hey, Mrs. Adams," like
really
what?
bizarre. They
That
weren't
is a
like,
drag
why?
queen.
What was wrong with her? Why was she acting strange?
And why was she like giant? She was like this petite woman, and then like suddenly this like 6 foot tall man is impersonating him. I don't know.
Yeah,
went a little too
job.
far for me. Anyway, so they stole her car, and so so Max decides he doesn't want to go, and he stays behind with the car. Also, Bobby has now snuck into the trunk of the car, and then he is like going to come on the mission with them. So Max like rejigs the car so it like flies into the casino, creates a distraction. Then the all the kids are able to get away on the boat, including little 10-year-old Bobby. So there they go, in the boat, ready to cross into North Korea territory via boat. Apparently not that hard. I thought it'd be a little bit harder to like sneak over the border, even if it's in
really
like
weird.
a water
And,
border.
like, yeah, and at some
to North
point, one
Korea.
guy like spots that they're like
Yeah.
a bunch of white kids, and he's just like, "Oh, like what?"
Right. I also thought it would be like at least more than one boat patrolling like international waters for North Korea for this like police state who we're all like super scared of. It's like one inept boat full of very inept soldiers who like literally cannot even use guns.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. So they're able to not sneak across. I mean, they're in like a motorboat. And they just like drive across what looks to be this like big lake, and then they're in this like kind of narrow waterway. And the North Koreans who are patrolling the waters do end up like coming and finding them, and they're a boat with all these guns and stuff. They're firing. It's this big boat chase. Apparently Sean is this, his dad's in the Navy, and I guess he knows how to drive a boat for real. And he is like driving that boat like Indiana Jones, man, through that river, like like there's all this like rock walls. It's like pretty freaky. But like we said, the North Koreans are pretty inept soldiers, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So they ended up like, anyway, so they get away, which is kind of the first like of many unbelievable things.
Yeah, and their mission in this part is to meet up with like the mole, I guess the mole,
Kim Sung.
Kim Sung.
Kim Sung.
And so they get into that little lair, and he's, Kim Song is pretty cool. He's a cool dude. But he's like, listen, I can't help you. Like, your dad told me you were coming. We've been looking out for you. We're going to get you home. And they're like, no. So they're pretty, they're pissed that he won't help them. But then Bobby, smart, wise, small child Bobby, is like, why don't we just still do the plan, you guys? And so did they only know the rest of the plan because Kim Song told them, or was that part of the plan? I think because
they had the whole plan in like they had stolen the plans from like the admiral
Kim Song
guy.
gave them like more information.
No, but what Kim Sung did was like leave them with no guards in the basement, and they're literally just able to sneak out of there like
these kids came to
through a
find
back
you
door.
across the border. Obviously, they're like not gonna care that you told them no.
Yeah.
So interesting. But yeah, so they have to like get through some tunnel to like do explosives to get into the prison. That's the next part of the mission.
Yeah, where
Get
Kim
inside
Sung is
the prison.
like in the same town where this prison is, where the dads are all held. So Kim Sung had shown them like in like tomorrow morning, like your fathers are going to be moved. They had snuck like somebody in there, and there was camera footage that like showed the whole prison. So they're like, he did kind of tell them, okay, here's the well where we were all going to come up and sneak through, and we have grenades and stuff down there. So he was kind of like letting go like little bits of the plan. Mm-hmm. So the kids like sneak out of there and sneak into the prison. So it's like an underground kind of system of tunnels that leads to this well that is like right in the middle of the prison. And under the cover of night, they're able to sneak up through that well. Meanwhile, the most like underguarded prison in like the history of the world. There was like literally nobody around. There's like one guard there. It was completely empty. The well is in the middle of the prison. They just pop up out of it and like five kids and like run around. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, these North Koreans they don't know what they're doing. So then in the night, they're like preparing what kind of the original plan was, this Operation Phoenix. So they like rewire all the fireworks from like the workers' festival that they have planned. They do like, I don't even know how they know how to do all this stuff. There's all these pulleys and carabiners and it's so confusing. I'm like, I know you have the plans, but like, how do you know what to do?
It's really weird. And they're like, they're like old school, like rocket fireworks that are like from like cartoons, like Acme firework is what they look like. Yeah. So they send in JJ to like do the actual breaking out of the dads. He has brought his gun with him, his little, I mean, I'd call it a pistol. I don't. It was like the way he was holding it was just like so, like like I don't know. Yeah. Like, it was just. I mean,
all the other soldiers have like AK-47s.
Right, yeah. So yeah, not regard. Yes, much interesting. But he gets to the place. He like sneaks up on a guard. His dad sees him and then like distracts the guard. And then like JJ sneaks up on the guard and is like, "Don't move." And then there's like this super weird scene where the dad helps JJ basically like kill this guard, and then he's like JJ's like really shocked at first, and then he's like, "Dad," and they just like hug like over this like dead.
I love that part. That's where I started crying.
Well, they just killed a guy and like doesn't care.
Good thing the dad killed him.
Do you know how upsetting that would be for someone who's not used to that? Like, imagine killing someone to like save somebody else. Like,
okay, that's why the dad did it. First of all, he knew JJ, despite how tough he was, would never be able to kill somebody. That's the dad's job. He kills people like all the time. So JJ knows. Anyways,
that was the kid right there.
I love that scene. That really like messed me up as a kid. I'll tell you that. I was always like so terrified of that scene. So they're like wrestling with this knife, and they're wrestling like on top of where all the guys are being held. So they're like, cages on top. And so, yeah, JJ's dad's able to like hold the guy down and then like break his neck because he's like about to stab his son. Kind of crazy though. But can you imagine being that dad and you're like, oh my God, like what's going to happen? My son, my little baby is wrestling with this North Korean. What if he got stabbed in front of him? Yeah. I mean, that would have been crazy.
How's he dead already?
They're able to break out. Like the dads cannot believe they're here. They're able to break them like all out of the prison. They all get guns and stuff, and then they go to meet where the other kids are. Now this is where I like lost it. I started crying. Like when they see their dads for the first time. Oh my God! I was just like, oh my God! Can you like imagine that? And like they were just so happy to see one another, but also in like shock.
In a North Korean prison camp, like
it was crazy. So then the dads are all like, so now it's just this like one big fight to get them, get out of here. But they all have guns. So they're all shooting back at the North Koreans. Freaking Kim Sung rolls in with his crew and like they pretend to be North Koreans, but it turns out like they're, for the resistance and they start shooting up everybody. So like they get everybody out. But it's like a lot of firefight. JJ's dad gets shot in the leg. JJ takes turns like shooting, like he's doing all this stuff. And the other kids are too, I think. But then in the meantime, like just trying to shield poor Bobby, who's just like, why are you here? Like the kid is 10 years old. That's really young. Really, really young.
Yeah.
So
just got into
like
double digits.
Yeah, you can tell that dad is like, what the fuck is my 10-year-old doing here? So they're like just taking turns basically like swinging Bobby over their shoulder and like running. So anyway, they get away from the prison finally. And they're in like are they in a van or something? How did they get there? Yeah. In the truck or something?
Well, they go to they get on the plane.
No, they're in like Kim Sung's truck, and Kim Sung like stays behind and drives them to the airport or the airstrip or whatever that is, and they take over some like North Korean like cargo plane or something that's supposed to be full of like produce. So they're only 10 minutes from the border. Luckily, one of the guys, Adrian's dad, former rape artist from Selma and Louise, knows how to fly a plane. So like all in there. It is the rickiest fucking plane ever. Like so sketchy. You know, those giant cargo planes that just look like they're going to like bust at the seams. And it's like really, really old. And it's like basically out of gas. So luckily there's only 10 minutes from the border. So they're able to like fly it. He's able to like, and there's mountains everywhere. So that's like pretty sketchy. So he's flying. He gets shot at one point. So he's like bloody hands. He's like trying to control the thing. They lose the oil or the gas because they got shot on one side, and they have to shut down one of the propellers. Can you still fly a plane with only one propeller?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That happened another time, and it was like,
yeah, I mean that can happen to commercial flights. I guess you only need one, but so wild. So it's a rickety freaking flight, man. So they are just about to make it. They cross into like South Korean airspace, and they're like, "Yay, we made it!" They're like all celebrating, but they're in this North Korean plane, and the freaking U.S. MiGs like leave the base. It's like a foreign plane in airspace.
They're not MiGs. They're our
planes. That's what you call those MiGs.
No,
right?
MiGs are just like the Russian ones.
Oh, are they? I thought that was the term for like.
I'm pretty sure that in Top Gun that's what we learned.
We should know that. We watched Top Gun.
Yeah.
Or I should know that. So anyway, so the U.S. fighter planes like are circling. They're gonna like bring down this plane because it looks like it's a North Korean plane, and they're like, we gotta show them like who like that we are who we are. That like we're Americans. So of course Bobby's like one contribution is to push his body outside of the plane, and he could have just waved and been like, hey, I'm like a 10-year-old white kid, and they would have known like, yeah, we shouldn't shoot down the plane. But no, he has to rip open his shirt and show them his Born in the USA Bruce Springsteen shirt.
It's
and
the boss.
Let me just tell you, this scene has stuck with me my entire freaking life. And I made up my own scene because when I saw it, it was so less impressive in my head than it was in my head. I envisioned this scene.
I love sweetie
I swear to
scenes.
God. I know. I swear to God, this is what happened. Like Bobby popped out and it was like wind and all crazy. And then Born in the USA played like Born in the USA. That's not what happened.
It may no, but it
Do you
could have, and they just don't have the right. They don't have the rights
that's
to
what
it.
I thought because I like remember this so
We
clearly.
know what happened in 90210 streaming. They took
Right.
out all the songs.
So instead, like he pops out, and it's really it's like kind of a second that he shows like the T-shirt, but then it's like this kind of generic like guitar riff in the back, and I was so disappointed. I was like,
Yeah,
"Where's Born
that
in
must
the
be it.
USA?" Oh, I was so bummed. Anyway, but that really stuck with me as like a 7-year-old kid. I was like, "Yeah, USA, USA." So anyway, so they figure out that it's like it's kind of like in the Goonies where the pilot's like, oh my God, you're never gonna believe it.
I mean, like,
So-
I believe it. These kids are fucking over there. They're trying to get their parents back, and they know that they need to get back here somehow. So it's like,
Yeah.
wow, I wonder what this weird North Korean plane with
I know,
one
I know.
like
Well, they just-
shot out
they had no idea.
propeller has happened. Like, like think about it, guys.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I know. Think about it. Put two and two together. So anyway, so they see like the airstrip, and at this point, both propellers have now died. So the poor pilot guy has to land the plane with like nothing. He's able to like, and all their families are just like watching this like rickety as fuck plane like land, and then it lands, and all the families come like running over, and then the back of the plane opens up, and they all pop out, and all the moms are like, ah, and all the families like, meet up, and like I can't imagine being that mom where like her whole family was on that plane. Like her husband's a Navy SEAL, like her 2 little boys, her 10-year-old. Oh my God, forget it. So I got a little emotional again. And then it's all like, that everyone's all congratulating each other, blah, blah, blah. And then it ends on like a freeze frame with like JJ and his dad. And suddenly like JJ is interested in like Adrian. And she's like, yeah, like maybe I'm his girlfriend. I don't know.
Oh, I thought her and Sean were together.
Yeah, I know. I thought so too. But it definitely seemed like she was into the bad boy like by the end.
Of course.
So the kids freaking saved the day. They did the rest.
I think Kim Song saved the day.
I'm going to start the segment again of inducting people into the Sweetie Club because it's definitely Kim's song in
Yeah,
this,
I was thinking
for
that
sure.
too.
Oh my God, he's the best. He's the best.
Do you think you made it?
No, I don't think he made it, but I mean, maybe he was like pretty pretty nimble, pretty swift,
Yeah.
pretty
I
sly.
bet he made it. I
So
bet he made it.
hopefully he went back underground or like got the fuck out of there because like North Korea, bad news. But yeah. So you didn't like it, huh?
It was just like too implausible for me, and it was like,
Born in the
and the
USA.
music was so like lighthearted and like jokey, and not jokey, but it was like Indiana Jones like, where it was like, I mean, you've got a very serious thing here, like we're fighting Nazis, or like in this case we're like, you know, in this country, you know, it's dangerous, and it's like do 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 da da, and it's just so strange. I just could never get over the fact that the kids are doing it for themselves. Like I just couldn't get over that. I think and it was just like one action sequence after another, but it was all like not that exciting action sequences.
What?
Though
I thought it was so exciting.
No, I thought they were like very like
God.
lame.
I thought they were really
thought, like,
exciting.
The prison was not that bad that they were in. Like I would give it 3 stars probably. Like they each got their own room. I feel like that's a luxury.
Well, like I said, they made the North Koreans be like zero competition to the U.S. I feel like
'cause
that was like
that's
a little overdone.
The
Like,
idea
that was-
when it's
yeah.
like, I mean, same thing with like
look
the
at these
Nazis in
losers.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like they're always like
Look at
fucking
these
idiots
incompetent
who get
losers,
like
yeah.
easily conned by gold. It's like,
Right.
yeah. So
I mean, they didn't have much resistance in this movie in the sense like everything basically went their way, essentially, like almost, which I
Yeah.
think probably isn't that smart when you're doing this. Like there has to be a little bit of like, that seems like pretty unrealistic that they would be like successful in literally every attempt that they did, even though they're like 17-year-old kids. I don't know.
yeah. Suspicious.
Yeah, I thought it was really exciting. I really liked it. I love this kind of like I said, kind of like spy-y kind of stuff. My main complaint is that they don't give the girl like literally anything to do. She is like she takes karate or judo or whatever, and you see that in the beginning, and she does like 1 or 2 karate moves to like disable like one dude sort of at the
Missed it.
beginning before they even like leave South Korea. One of the like gangster guys. And that's it. And then he like 10-year-old
and then
Bobby
she
gets
has
more to do.
No, she has to like watch Bobby. They're
Yeah,
like, you're the
that's what
girl,
I'm
watch
saying.
the kid.
I know. And they
it's
do
like,
this whole big charade kind of in the beginning, you know, where JJ, the tough guy, has to be like sexist too. And he's like, she can't come, she's a girl. And she's like, I am coming too. Like, I'm like, I decided to do this, blah, blah, blah. So she has to like kind of prove herself, but they don't like let her do anything. Like, why didn't they let her like hold a gun or do, you know, what sometimes 80s movies do that where they like, oh, like the girl has to prove herself. So she like ends up like getting a gun and she's like some crack shot, you know? But they didn't do that at all here. She was just like babysitting Bobby.
Maybe
and
they
was so
cut it
lame.
out. Maybe they cut her scenes out.
I don't know.
Not enough room for the girl to get her
Yeah.
moment.
So she was kind of dumb, but I guess really it was like JJ's movie because he ends up like really, you know, going in and actually and being like, you know, kind of a wussy at first, but then ends up like kind of
wussy?
being a little bit more Navy SEAL-ish than maybe any of the other guys. I don't know.
How was he a wussy?
Well, not wussy,
He's
but
like-
he was definitely like scared when he went in there to rescue the dads,
Oh,
and
well, who
he
wouldn't
had to
be
use the
scared?
gun and all that. No, I know. I think that was like super realistic. Okay, so let me just say, okay, my favorite scenes as someone who used to love this movie. So the boat scene, as we already talked through, I always thought that was very exciting. Remember that? Remember when they're like going under the bridge and the guy's like closing the bridge and then the poor North Koreans are like, ah! And then that one captain like who doesn't like stays with the ship like explodes into flames. I forgot he died. I didn't like remember that part. Breaking the dads out in the knife fight. We already talked about it. Stay with me as a kid. Really freaked me out. Okay, the water slide is the one I remember
Okay, yeah.
so much when I was a kid and being so
Goonies
freaked out about.
2.0.
Also like Goonies, yeah. So Kim Song is like, okay, you got like this is the way we're like getting to the airstrip or whatever, and they have to go. He's like, they're like, what is this? And it's basically like just like, you know, a big slide to nowhere. They don't know where it's going. So they're all
But
like,
it's really
woo!
but it's really like a
It was
pipe,
like
I guess.
pipe. Yeah. At one
So-
point, it was going like straight down.
Right. So
it
I'm
was not a
looking at
water slide for
this.
people.
Yeah. And there's like so great documentary on HBO called Action Park lawsuit or like class action park or whatever, that like crazy water park from the 90s where like everyone died, like a lot of people
my
died
God.
at, and like it was just like really like some idiot, like some kid saw this movie and tried to like make a slide like that, and like turns out you can't because you kills people. It was just like looked so improbable, like it like went all the way down, and then there was like at one point you were like, okay, if they were really in there and they went like one right after another, you're supposed to, have you ever been to a water park? You have to wait like a beat or two. Yeah. And you got to wait for the guy to wave you on, even though from this documentary it was just kids who were doing it. They didn't even care. But yeah, it looked like someone would have got real hurt in that slide, basically.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, totally forgot about that scene until it was happening. I was like, oh yeah. And then, like I said, the Born in the USA part, which I apparently possibly made up or made it a bigger,
I don't think so.
a bigger deal than it was.
I believe.
Oh, that's so nice. I can't believe you believe me, finally.
Well, now I know the experience of what happens, and now I'm second guessing like all the movies we've streamed. Like, are they
I know.
real?
That really messes
Such a
with
bummer.
you. Such a bummer. So, I was kind of saying in the beginning that I feel like with these movies, there's always like a little bit of like, there has to be like certain characters involved, and I feel like this one kind of fit the same like mold of all those. So I feel like you always have the bad boy who, like I said, is kind of like sexist, who's like, girls can't do that, and like, you know, has to like kind of, you know, prove themselves to their parent or like something like that. So that's like JJ to a T, right? Then you have the girl trying to prove herself. There's always like one girl, and she's sort of like tagging along. Sometimes they give her more to do, sometimes, but in this case, poor Adrian, no. You have always like the little kid who somehow gets like wrapped up or just follows along, and then they contribute in some way. Like everyone is always taking care of them.
Trying to prove himself, basically.
Yeah, I'm not a little kid. I can do it too. Yeah. There's always a geek guy who like knows how to do everything. I mean, really, like Max was like the MVP in this. I say, like he really knew how to do everything. Like he knew how to like read the plans and read the maps and like set up all the like booby traps and all like the like, technical stuff they were doing. Like he was the operations man.
Fooling the North Koreans are like one thing, but like fooling the actual Navy was also very impressive. And like, how did that all go to plan? Like when they stole the plans, it was just like easy as like a couple dogs, but you know.
Okay, so when they stole the plans, there was like some kind of contraption where he like scanned it and then printed it out immediately.
Yeah, I don't know what
technology
I don't know
is
what
that
was.
In 1988, I was like, "What is this? A scanner and printer in one?" And it was like this little tiny like scanny thing. Very, very impressed by that. And then you have the kind of the nice guy who is like good at everything, which I feel like was the Sean character who like he could drive the boat. He like knew like about the weapons and stuff. He's like talking everybody down. He's the one like everyone trusts and kind of like the ringleader person. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's always kind of like the same kind of characters that they always do in these ones. So I think that worked well. I was impressed with the scenery, and I was like, wow, North Korea is beautiful. And then I looked in the credits, and it was not obviously filmed in North Korea. Hello. Can you guess where it was filmed?
California? Hawaii?
No. So I think some of the more like small like Asian village scenes were filmed in Hong Kong, so they did have like that feel to it, but most of the wider shots and the outdoor shots were filmed in New Zealand, so that makes sense with like the lake and the mountains all around and stuff. Because I was like, wow, this does not seem like North Korea.
Yeah. When they were on the water at one point, I thought there was a green screen involved because it looked really fake, but maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. I thought they did a good job of casting the dads to look like the kids or the kids to look like the dads. I can't tell which, but you know, sometimes when like a lot of times that you have families on screen and you're like, okay, there's no way that guy is like related to that guy. They look nothing alike, but I feel like they kind of did look very similar to the kids in some ways. Maybe not Adrian. She looked like her mom a lot, but like the boys all sort of look like their dad. Like the ginger guy, his dad was a ginger.
Max did not look like James Cromwell or what?
No, he does not like James Cromwell. Also, his parents were very old.
Yeah.
I was like, why is his mother a grandmother?
Are you Cubby Stockley? Like, who are you?
Okay, Cubby Stockley was this kid. First of all, his name was Cubby. That's funny. That we grew up with, and he like danced at the academy, the place where I did my dance. He was like in shows and stuff. And his mom was so old, but I don't even think it was a thing where like when you're little, everyone looks old, even if they're not that old.
Oh,
She
like,
really
adopted?
was a grandmother. Was he adopted? Is that
maybe
why?
it was his grandmother. I don't know if we ever knew the full story.
He was
Someone
a very
knows.
little boy, and his mom
sure
looked
Haley
70. I'll just
knows.
say, yeah,
Haley
I
knows.
should bring that up with my
Yeah.
Five Alive friend group. But yeah, so I thought they did a good job with that. I believed it. Question for you: which dad was your favorite?
Well, the one who was not a psycho and was like, you have to salute to me, son, I guess was rape artist.
Yeah,
Old rape artist.
old rape artist. I think was
the nicest.
the sweetest dad.
Yeah. The one that like didn't care if I just always find it so surprising that like guys in the military treat their kids like drill, like they know what it's like to go through that, and like it's not fun. Why would you want your kid to go through that? But then it's like they want them to have discipline, and they want them to like.
That's all they know.
It's just gross. I hate it.
I mean, I was mildly crushing on JJ's dad, and I have no idea why. He was pretty scary looking, just like Kevin Dillon. But I had like a crush on him. I'm like, oh, I think he just like knew how to use the gun and was very like like kind of crazy tough guy. He was the aggressive guy. I like the bad boys, obviously. But what was I gonna say about that? I forgot where I was going. Okay, and then last but not least, sorry. Okay. Okay, I have two things, I think. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Just reading my notes, guys. Okay, so this movie is about like, let's say like okay. Do you feel like when we were growing up, it wasn't really like the threat of communism had passed, right? Because like we were really too young to have been around when everyone was like, ooh, like Russia's bad, like communists. Yeah. Right. But then when we were growing up, it was more about like Desert Storm. Like I said, we didn't know anything about North Koreans. It wasn't like North Korea was talked about as this like axis of evil, like when we were little, and or even from Back to the Future, like the Libyans, like that kind of a thing. So our like frame of reference for war when we were little was Desert Storm, right? So like Saddam Hussein and like that whole thing. Do you remember when this guy came over who was in Desert Storm? It was like Grammy and Grandpa's friend's son who like lived in Eastham, and he came to our house and like brought all his like army rations. So it was like the food that they eat in like these little packages. And we got to eat them, and it was like beef stew, and it was so delicious. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, I can't believe this is army food. And I was just like so impressed. And I was like, I'd be in the army. Like, the food is so good.
You probably had a crush on him.
No, I didn't. But like, you don't remember this at all? Like, kind of weird. Look, thinking about it, like, why did that guy come over, and why did he give us like
this
his
wasn't a dream you had?
No, I will ask Mom this weekend. Very, very strange.
Yeah, I wasn't
but
there. I was probably afraid and like clinging to Mom, like, men.
Yeah. I mean, you would have been like so tiny. I mean, you would have been like 5 years old.
Oh,
but
forget
I
it.
remember that
Too
a
scared.
ton. So we kind of had that frame of reference for war, I think. And like, I remember watching the news with Mom and Dad when that was like all going on, and like CNN and like all that shit. And then I remember the Bosnian one like pretty well too.
Yeah, that's more the one I remember. That was like 6th grade.
Yeah,
I was
I
in
was in
6th
early
grade,
high
so I was
school.
like starting to learn about current events in school.
Yeah.
And I definitely remember like Bosnia being a big buzzword.
Right. And then obviously it wasn't until 9/11 that we really got into like the all that stuff. But I just found that like so interesting. So obviously like the 80s was so steeped in this like communism, evil, Russians, blah, blah, blah. So we like grew up and watched a lot of those movies, but like had no real bearing on us, like what that was like to grow up in a society that was like, they are like this evil presence, Russia and the Iron Curtain and all that. And like we watched, if you've ever seen the show The Americans, that was like really, it's a great show and really well done in terms of like what was going on in the 80s and that feeling and stuff. And obviously it's about like Russian spies and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, what an interesting time to be alive, I guess. I mean, it was for a long time, right? I mean, post the 1950s on to 1990s.
You're talking about the Cold War now?
Cold War.
Communism.
But now we can hate Russia again, so
yay.
back at it.
Phew.
We're back at it. Sorry. This is the last thing. So what was with the one seal who didn't have any kids? The one tag along guy?
I kept forgetting about him, and I was like, and he was like the weird one who was like there's another plane on this side of the plane. Like he said something really weird, and I was like, who is that guy?
I know. I kept being like, oh yeah, there's another one. Like, why did they have like one random guy who like didn't have kids
For
come
reality,
to rescue him?
like, see, we are true to real. I don't know.
You know what they should have had? They should have had like his dog come along. Like they're like, we're gonna bring like Sergeant Steve's dog.
Stop! No dogs.
Did the dog die? God, come.
So upsetting.
But yeah, so I'm so glad I was able to watch this finally. I just remember, like I said, loving this as a kid. Not really sure why. It seemed like a weird choice now with quite a few years of hindsight. Though, like I said, I mean, I was kind of into like action movies. I mean, I bet Dad liked this for some reason.
Basically
he really
like
liked
Indiana Jones for kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like.
Right, definitely. So very, very cool. Glad we're able to find it. Thank you, Amazon, for maybe like looking in the archives and being like, what like random movie from Emily's childhood should we allow to be rented? So thank you.
Someday more of our favorites will be out there.
I hope so.
And we wait. Well, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you finally got to see it.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a great lunchtime watch. I recommend that to everyone if you have work from home and you just need like a little pick me up. Watch an 80s movie on your lunch break. Like you will thank me.
Good.
You will thank me later.
Good tips. All right. Well, you can come and find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you as always for listening. Bye.
Bye. North Korea, rape our ass.